Wanna talk? So let's talk. Yeah. Talk. You wanna talk? You gotta talk, you need to talk. News talk.
I talk, you talk to Solomon. I talk, you talk to Solomon. Yeah, let's talk to Solomon. Talk to Solomon.
You gotta talk, you wanna talk.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Talk to Solomon. That's me, Stan Solomon. I'm the host.
I'm Chief Steve Davis, the in-studio co-host.
And our guest of honor, the Major General Jerry Curry, United States Army retired. General, how are you, sir?
I am here and well.
Well, it's nice that you are there, and it's nice that you are well, and I wish I could say the same for our government. But I want to ask you a question, General. There is, sometimes a small story can make major impact. There's a story out of China, where some people in their cramped quarters heard crying. They couldn't figure out where the crying was coming from, so they called the authorities, the firemen or wherever they were there. They came and found that someone, I guess in the apartment above these people, had abandoned a newborn baby, flushed it down the toilet, and the baby was stuck in the pipe. And they saved that child. They got that pipe, cut it out, saved that baby. And then, in reading that story, I find that's common in China since they put you in jail for having more than one child, where they go around in vans supplied by us and kill babies, that when people have babies, especially if they're not supposed to have them, they just flush them down the toilet. And I'm thinking, what kind of a world would people flush a newborn down the toilet? And I'm saying, wait a minute, United States, we've got bastards that will take a newborn baby and twist its head off with their bare hands. Something's wrong with this world, General. Do you agree?
I agree something's wrong with this world. We really need to get back on track, and we need to get back where we were when this nation was founded. We have lost our way. We have lost the direction for the nation. And we don't have anybody at any level, it seems. For example, you look around, who we got? McCain, is he the one going to do it for us? Obama, is he the one going to do it for us? Not a chance. The American people have given up their birthright, and they've given up, of course, the birth of their babies.
Well, when you don't honor a baby, you don't honor the concept of a life being precious and coming from God, which means you take away, in essence, the whole concept of rights coming from God, and therefore you as a human being have any special value, right?
That's right, and that's what our forefathers were talking about when they talked about life, liberty, and property. Life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. Life. That's what we were fighting about. That's what we were trying to preserve, to get really established in our Constitution. We have the right, the citizens have the right to a free life, to liberty, and certainly to property and the pursuit of happiness.
Stan, I think the General hit the nail on the head right off the bat. And it's not anyone else's responsibility, it's our responsibility to protect life. And either you're protecting life or you're not. So either you're protecting life or you're a murderer. You're protecting life, you're sitting on the fence. If you're sitting on the fence, you're helping the murderers. So it's up to all of us, especially all those Christians out there, all those Sunday sitting in the pew, do nothing else Christians. It's time to get off your pew, get off your fanny, and really take some action and do something to stop these babies from being murdered wherever it takes place.
Now, because I've had sensitivity instruction, I now am a new guy. I have put a condom on my bumper, and I drive back and forth in front of abortion clinics. In case the abortionist happens to come out, I wouldn't want to soil my bumper. But the General will not comment on that, but I will. All right, let's get to some military matters. It turns out that the Chinese, may they rest in pieces, are stealing our military technology. Someone put a price tag saying they have stolen over $1.5 trillion trillion worth of military technology, and now our F-35, on which we spent whatever we spent, hundreds of billions of dollars, a trillion and a half just on that one thing, that the Chinese have it because they've stolen it. General.
I don't know whether that's true or not, but there is no question that that's what they're trying to do, and that's what they would love to be able to do. How nice! You don't have to develop a new weapon system. You just simply go and procure it from the Americans free of charge.
Now, one would have to wonder, wouldn't you think we would have our technology protected? Although I've read a number of stories of quote-unquote Chinese Americans, naturalized Chinese people that have been caught sending, giving, transferring information to the Chinese government. And for everyone we've caught, you have to assume there's some we haven't caught, maybe many we haven't caught. And yet our government just makes nicey nice with the Chinese. Now, General, if you were President of the United States or you were the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, would you or would you not recommend that we nuke everything the Chinese have and just eliminate them as an enemy, because it's only a matter of time before they get strong enough and they will attack us?
Well, I wouldn't go down that road, I don't think, because being a military man who has seen war face to face and nose to nose, I got to tell you, war is so nasty and so ugly. I'd do almost anything to keep from going to it. But if these rascals are stealing our secrets and we need to do something about it, the answer is I don't see what the problem is. Why can't we hack them? Have they got anything they're worth hacking? How can we complicate their lives? We ought to do it with our technology. Surely we can complicate their lives. Surely we can complicate their development programs. And if I were the president or the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, I would have no compunction at all about taking these guys on. And if I could, I would ruin their lives.
Well, maybe an EMD, electromagnetic device, put in a position to affect them, because I understand that the Chinese are developing satellite killers. Have you heard about that, Chief?
Sure, they probably bought it from us.
They probably didn't develop it. They probably stole ours, and they'll use them against us, I guarantee, in a New York minute.
Well, I'd like to add something. I heard Greg Gutfield earlier on television. He gave a suggestion that I think is very valid. Before we nuke them or EMP them or whatever, we should hire those hackers to investigate Benghazi. Maybe we'll get some real answers.
That's a great segue. By the way, I was going to do my impression of Greg Gutfield. What do you... Okay. At any rate, General, let's go to Benghazi. We had dozens of people on the ground in Benghazi at the time of the attack. Not a single one has been allowed to testify up until a couple of days ago. I guess they got some of them. What is your, Obama has, in my opinion, successfully gotten Benghazi to be old news, even though we've never gotten the news. Your thoughts?
Well, he's done it very well, I think, very effectively, and the people that he's got all around him, of course, they're the same mindset that he is. And so he works with them very closely, and they all lie to the American people, and the American people are deceived, and that's what they want it to be. That's what their intention is, and that's the way they're working on it. Benghazi is not. Listen, that is not a big deal in terms of being a complicated matter. The answer is you get all the people in the room and you start down through the line and you start interrogating these guys, and you get all the way through it, and when you do, you will have the answer. And you can probably do that in about 48, 72 hours of intense interrogation. And once you find out what it is, then you make your move. For example, who's gone to jail so far?
Nobody.
Yeah, absolutely. The answer is nobody. And the president, I don't think, intends for anybody to go to jail.
Well, they fired a guy in the State Department that had nothing to do with anything. They just picked a guy out, went down the list, said, well, who don't we care about? Well, we'll just fire him. And the guy that they fired had nothing to do with it, wasn't related to it, didn't know anything about it. It was like, what? It was like taking the guy in charge of the Middle East and blaming him for something that happened in South Africa.
Yeah, that's about the way they do it. It seems to me, you just go to eeny, meeny, miny, mo. You go right down there and just figure out who it is you want to throw in front of the bus, throw him in front of the bus, and if he crawls out, shoot him.
Well, Stan, once again, the general has hit the nail on the head, because I've reviewed many interviews and interrogations, and the best interviewers and interrogators, when you read the statements, their questioning is very short, and the answers they get back are very long. So Congress is the worst body that could ever try to investigate this, because they love to hear themselves talk more than they love to ask questions. So Congress needs to hire somebody, some really good prosecutor that can tell them how to ask these questions, so that all they do is ask questions and not politic and waste their time and not get the answers that we need.
By the way, a very smart guy, his name is Chief Steve Davis, told me, in any interrogation you start with, did you do it? And if the answer is anything other than no, you know they're guilty. As soon as they start to equivocate, as soon as they start to explain, as soon as they start to, tell you all the things that happened, you know they're guilty. Because if you say, did you murder Joe? If the first word out of their mouth is not no, then you know they're guilty. Does that sound right, General?
I have not had the opportunity to do any of that kind of an interrogation, but it sounds reasonable to me. And if Chief says that, it must be gospel.
It's very accurate, and usually you'll hear comments like this. You'll say, "Did you murder Joe Blow?" Why would I do that? They did it.
And again, it just blew my mind, because 1.5 seconds into the interview, he'll tell you if they're guilty or not. And it's almost always the very first question is, did you murder Joe Blow? And if the next word is not no, they did. It doesn't make any difference. He's my best friend. We grew up together. We were going to business. It doesn't make any difference what they say. If the answer's not no, I wonder what it would be like if you asked Barack Obama anything. Do you think you'd ever get a no or yes?
Well, see, interestingly, we talk about Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton said, "I did not have sex with that woman." And he actually told the truth in that statement, because he didn't equivocate what he did as sex. And so, but when you get the answer, you just go a little farther and you ask the right question, you'll get the right response. You'll know what the response means.
All right, General.
Yes.
We have a case that happened in England. You know about it. A young soldier, not but a block from his barracks, was out in front walking. Two men hit him with a car on purpose, knocked him down, disabled him. Then they jumped out with machetes and knives and started to chop him up, murdered him, and then chopped his head off, and then asked people to take their picture. Now, they were already known as terrorists. They were involved in another terrorist act a couple years ago. Two, they were, of course, using the familiar greeting in the Middle East, Allah Akbar, which means up yours. I think is that the right translation?
Sounds good to me.
It's close. And now they've arrested these two plus 8 more. Oh, first, while these guys were out in the street, holding this guy's head, continuing to mutilate him, it took them 20 minutes to get someone with a gun there, because their police officers don't have guns. When they finally got their armed group there, then they proceeded to shoot him. They didn't kill him, unfortunately, and then they arrested him. Now, let me ask you a question, General. And P.S., the war memorials in London are being defaced with Muslim, saying Islam and other Muslim friendly terms on these defaced memorials. What is happening in England, in my opinion, is happening in this country. We have had some parts of New York City, particularly in Brooklyn, in Michigan, is it Ann Arbor or
Dearborn?
Dearborn. And so where the Muslims have taken over. Now, I believe we should have a law saying if you're a Muslim, you either swear allegiance to this country or leave. And by the way, please resist so we can shoot you and ship your body wherever the hell you want us to ship it. We'll wash it first in gasoline. All right. Am I close?
You're very close. Listen, my feeling about this Muslim business is this is the United States of America. Whether you like it or not, it was founded as a Christian nation. That's the way this place was put together. That's the way it ought to be today. That's the way it's been up until now, even though we got everybody, including the president, trying to change it. But there's no doubt in my mind that if a Muslim runs over somebody with the car and then gets out and starts hacking his head off, everybody, especially the military barrack, everybody in the area ought to descend on those folks, and they ought to dispatch them to Allah immediately. And I don't have any problem with blowing those people away. I think that's what should be done. And if you blow enough of them away, you won't have to worry about them.
You know, I was told by a member of our military that, and they don't advertise this, but that when they would go into Iraq, when we were still, dealing with Saddam Hussein's, and then when they went into in Afghanistan, what they would do is they would question their bravery, and when the Muslims would stand up to say how brave they are, they'd shoot them. They say Israel won 6 wars with the Arabs because the Arabs would start the war and throw hand grenades. The Israelis would pull out the pins and throw them back. I wouldn't say Muslims are stupid, but I would say that on a scale of 1 to 10, they're suppositories. Now, I don't mean to insult suppositories. They do serve a purpose.
Well, they are used to having the bomb strapped to their chest and not thrown at the people. So
right. So next thing you know, they'll pull the pins out, but when they put on the vest and blow themselves up, which a lot of them have done. But the fact is, in the old times, in the samurai era in feudal Japan, so we're talking back in the 1800s, very early 1900s, mostly 1800s, that the samurai warriors would come up to the front, shout insults, then the other samurai warriors on the other side would respond to the insults, and then they would fight to the death, and the best samurai would win. But you weren't allowed to let an insult go by. Now that may have worked before snipers were around, but it's not a real smart thing these days. The fact is, Muslims are not sophisticated, but they are dedicated. They will keep going until one or two things happens. They kill you, or you kill them. Is that about right, General?
I don't know about that. It sounds okay, but listen, let me tell you a short story. I'm in Vietnam. There's a cliff area. They have caves in that cliff you can drive a truck in. I mean, they're that big. In the mouth of them, that open. And I'm an advisor to the South Vietnamese at the time. And we've had a firefight, been fighting in that place all morning, and finally by late afternoon, we captured the area, but we didn't capture this one cave. And out of the cave came running a bunch of girls. They looked to be about 10, 11, 12, somewhere around there. And the South Vietnamese opened up with machine guns and just cut them to pieces. And I'm screaming and hollering, stop, 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 don't shoot them, don't shoot them, they're trying to surrender. Watch out, watch out. And while I'm going through all this sort of thing, these little 10, 11, 12-year-olders had bombs strapped to their back, and they all exploded, which tells you Americans can be stupid sometimes, and I was the stupid one in sort of trying to think that we can fix everything, we can be nice to everybody, that everybody wants to sort of come back and be friends with us and be really close friends, members of our clan, of our military. The answer is garbage to all that. The Muslims have no intention of being our friends. They're not going to be our friends. Their intention is to turn the world into Allah and all of it, and their intention is to kill people like you and me, and that's what they're going to do. So if it's them versus me, the answer is we kill them.
Why, General, you've been on this show too many times.
Probably.
Well, they certainly need their status as religion revoked, because it's not a religion, it's a political movement, and its only purpose is to destroy, and we need to quit allowing them to have the freedom of religion that they have in this country. I mean, you can't yell fire, that's not constitutionally protected, so you shouldn't be able to yell Allah Akbar and kill people.
Interesting, the approach that the Muslims are using, but now let me ask you about this, General. There are a lot of Muslims in the world, over a billion and a quarter or something like that. So 1/5 of the world is quote unquote Muslim. Of course, 98% of those people had two options: be a Muslim or die, or stay a Muslim or die. So there are a lot of them, they don't really care one way or the other, they want to survive. But you have the radicals, you have those who are focused, that are motivated, that are trying to make things happen, and we're seeing this happen. And we're seeing young people in this country, not always young people, but young people, being quote unquote radicalized on the internet. Can you address that issue?
It's being done across the board in our country, and we're being very stupid about our approach to it. For example, if you're a young man and you go off to prison, the chances are you will become radicalized. You will be, first of all, converted. If you have a religion, you'll be converted from that to Islam. The mullahs, not the mullahs, but whatever they call
Imams.
The imams have free access to you. They're going to do everything in the world to convince you that this is what you should be. You should join them. You're in prison only because of those terrible, awful Christians who put you here in prison. But once you get out, if you would go to this mosque, they will take care of you and protect you, and life will be wonderful, and you will be somebody that Allah loves, and you'll have your virgins and all that sort of stuff. That's what's going on in our prisons today. It's a very unfortunate situation, but the radicalizing of our young people is not just there. It's on television. It's on the radio. You can't get away from it. And it seems to me the people in charge of this country ought to say so, and then they ought to come up with a plan or a way to oppose all of this stuff and say, we're not going down that road. And if you have to take the imams and put them on something and ship them out of the country, you ship them out.
Now, General, there is, let me just tell you a quick story from this weekend. This weekend I was in a supermarket, and there was a guy wearing shorts, a loose-fitting shirt, flip-flops, and wearing sunglasses. Black man, and with him was a black woman, I guess, because all I could see were her eyes. Now, it was 80-something degrees, but she was covered from head to toe. You could only see her eyes. Now, I have no idea if these people were born someplace else and came here, or whether they were born here and converted. But I'm thinking to myself, he's comfortable. He's just, having a nice leisurely time. And she is obviously uncomfortable. And I'm thinking, why would any woman want to put herself in a position to have no individuality, no freedom, no options other than to be the property of a man to do what he tells you to do when he tells you to do it, or to suffer dire consequences and have no outlets? Can you explain that to me?
Sure. They're stupid.
General, all your training and you just tell the truth? Good grief. We're going to take a break on that note, folks. By the way, if you know any women that are in that circumstance, don't get close to them because they may have a bomb under all that and they'll blow you up. This is the Talk to Solomon. I'm Stan Solomon. Stay tuned. Hey, my name is Stan Solomon, and you know if I have something to say, I'll say it. And I'll only tell you the truth because I'm a Republican, not a Democrat. Democrats always lie. Republicans only lie half the time. I don't lie at all. This is the Fuel Mule. It's an extraordinary product that was developed by a friend of mine, an engineer, and it increases the fuel mileage on your vehicle. If you have a combustion engine, this will increase your mileage by 10 to 20%. It bolts around your fuel line. You can install it yourself or have your mechanic do it. It is an extraordinary item and it flat works. I've been using it for more than 10 years. It's increased my mileage on every vehicle I put it on, and by the way, it will last forever. You can get rid of your vehicle, just take it off and put it on the next one. Go to cpnlive.com. You'll have more information there. You can order it right there. We absolutely guarantee you'll be satisfied. The Fuel Mule. It's a way to kick down your cost of fuel and kick up your mileage. Don't you love the name? I thought of it. The Fuel Mule. Let me ask you a question. Do you like being sick? I have in my hand an incredible product. It's called TR10 Supercolloidal Silver. TR10 stands for a trace to the negative 10th power. The particles in this silver product are 6 to 8 angstroms, 6 to 8 10 billionths of a meter. Now listen to me. Silver has been the magic bullet for all of human existence. The Egyptians used silver instruments. We use silverware. They put silver in your teeth because nothing can grow on silver. Silver will kill anything but liberalism. I'm working on that. This product, you go to cpnlive.com, buy 1 quart of this product. It will last you for a very long time. Anytime you feel like you've been exposed to something bad, take some of this product, spray it in your mouth, or take a little bit and gargle it, swallow it. It will kill any pathogen. The average antibiotic kills 10 to 20 different pathogens. This product will kill 700 plus. Do yourself a favor, do your family a favor, do your doctor a favor. He's tired of seeing you. Get Supercolloidal Silver. Go to cpnlive.com, order the product. It's $29.95 plus shipping. I think it's $39.95 delivered any place in America right to your door. It's worth 10 times that. Check it out. If you're not 100% happy, just return it and we'll give you your money back. I like to eat. Do you like to eat? We all do. And usually we run to the grocery store, we run to the convenience store, or we have something in the fridge. But power's been out in parts of this country in the last few weeks. We don't know what's going to come down the pike economically. Smart people are putting in food. Alpine Air Gourmet Reserves is a line of foods that you can put away that will last for a very long time. You know, they say eat what you store and store what you eat. This is great tasting stuff, healthy for you, a full line. You go to our website, cpnlive.com, and click on the button for Alpine Air Gourmet Reserves and see all the different things we have. This is good tasting food. It's reasonably priced. It will last. And it's worth its weight in gold if a problem arises. I know you don't think there's going to be anything that goes wrong. Actually, you do. This is smart. This is smart insurance. This is smart preparation. This is smart thinking. You have kids, you have a spouse, you have parents, you have dependents, you have an appetite. All those things can be addressed by a frugal but smart investment in Alpine Air Gourmet Reserves. Try them out. You will be tickled to death with the taste of them. You know what? In many cases, people start to eat this and they think, heck, this tastes better and costs less than what you're going to the grocery store to buy. cpnlive.com, check it out.